Did you know Adolf Hitler aspired to be an artist in his early years? His young heart was brimming with a passion for the canvas, not conquest. Yet his dreams were dashed on the doorsteps of Vienna's Academy of Fine Arts, not once but twice. Imagine, if you will, a world where Hitler's brushstrokes shaped art, not atrocities. A world where his fervor found form in oil and canvas, not in hate and destruction. So Hitler could have been more Picasso than dictator. It might come as a surprise, but Hitler was a vegetarian. Yes, you heard right, the Führer, infamous for his inhumane atrocities, had a soft spot for animals. He abstained from meat, advocating for animal rights, but that's not all. Hitler also had a deep appreciation for opera, finding solace in its melodious tunes. Interestingly, while he loved animals and opera, he harbored an irrational fear of cats. These seemingly normal traits painted a stark contrast to his terrifying deeds. Quite the contrast, isn't it? Hitler was terrified of dentists. An odd fear for a dictator, yet it plagued him relentlessly. Adolf Hitler suffered from extreme dental issues, a fact not commonly known. His mouth was a battlefield of gum infections and tooth decay. His dread of dentists was so profound it was almost paralyzing. Some suggest this fear may have been exacerbated by his methamphetamine use, a drug known to ravage the teeth and gums. A unique irony, don't you think? A dictator with a toothache, imagine that. Despite leading Germany, Hitler wasn't German-born. Yes, you heard that right. Adolf Hitler, the infamous dictator of Germany, was actually born in Braunau am Inn, a small town in Austria near the German border. It wasn't until his late 20s that Hitler moved to Germany, a country he would eventually lead with an iron fist. His Austrian origins are often overlooked, but they played a crucial role in shaping his political ideology. Raised in the multi-ethnic Austro-Hungarian Empire, Hitler developed a deep-rooted sense of nationalism, which later became a cornerstone of his political career. In a twist of fate, Hitler, a non-German, ascended the ranks and seized control of the German government. His rise to power is a stark reminder of the unpredictability of history. It's ironic, isn't it? A man who wasn't even born in Germany leading the country into one of the most tumultuous periods in its history. An Austrian leading Germany, quite the twist, isn't it? Hitler's military career didn't start off well. Initially, his Austrian citizenship was a stumbling block to his ambitions to join the German army. However, he eventually managed to enlist, but his performance was anything but stellar. He struggled to make his mark, with his superiors noting his lack of exceptional skills or leadership. His mediocrity in the military, though, was not a permanent state. Hitler would later rise to become a formidable military leader. A failed soldier turned military leader, quite the turn of events. Despite his initial failures, Hitler was a decorated soldier. During the First World War, he proved his mettle in the face of danger, earning a number of commendations for his bravery. Among these was the Iron Cross, a distinguished military honor in Germany, bestowed upon him not once but twice. Other recognitions included the Wound Badge for his injuries and the Bavarian Military Medal of Bravery. A surprising facet of a man who would become one of history's most infamous figures, a decorated soldier with a dark future. Hitler had a complicated relationship with his niece, Geli Raubal. This young woman, who lived under Hitler's roof, became an object of intense scrutiny. Their dynamic was controversial, drenched in rumors of domination and desire. Geli's sudden and mysterious death in 1931 only fueled these speculations. Amidst the whispers of scandal, Hitler's personal life emerged as a complex web of relationships marked by secrecy and power dynamics. It's clear that Hitler's personal life was just as controversial as his political one. Hitler had ailurophobia, a fear of cats. It may seem almost comical to picture, but it's an aspect of his life that's been well documented. This fear was so intense that if a cat sauntered into a room, Hitler would immediately spring up from his seat and make a swift exit. It's a fascinating glimpse into the mind of one of history's most infamous figures, revealing a vulnerability that starkly contrasts with the image of ruthless authority he projected. A dictator scared of felines, quite the paradox. Hitler wrote a book that outlined his plans for Germany's future. This book was Mein Kampf, a chilling manifesto and a roadmap of sorts to the horrors that lay ahead. Penned during Hitler's stint in prison following a failed coup in 1923, Mein Kampf, meaning My Struggle, was a distillation of his extremist ideologies, his political theories, and his plans for the future of Germany. It was here that Hitler propagated his venomous anti-Semitism, his disdain for democracy, and his belief in Germany's racial superiority. The book's 2 volumes, written in the solitude of his cell, were a grim foreshadowing of the Holocaust, encapsulating the seeds of the genocide that would claim 6 million lives. Despite its rambling and often incoherent narrative, Mein Kampf served as a blueprint for the Third Reich, its contents alarmingly prophetic of the atrocities that were to follow. It's a chilling reminder of the power of words and ideologies, a book that foretold a nightmare. Hitler's end was as dramatic as his life. As World War II raged on, the man who once held the world in his tyrannical grip retreated to the confines of a bunker. His final days were a stark contrast to the years of power and control he once wielded. In those gloomy depths, he made one last human connection, marrying his longtime companion, Eva Braun. Yet this union was tragically fleeting. In the face of inevitable defeat, Hitler chose his own fate rather than face the world's judgment. He and Braun committed suicide, their lives extinguished in a moment of despair. But even in death, Hitler sought control, ordering their bodies to be burned, an act that echoes the atrocities he committed during his reign. A grim end to a grim story. A dictator's life filled with fear, power, and terror ended in a bunker, a symbol of his downfall, leaving behind a legacy that the world continues to grapple with. Let's quickly recap the 10 lesser-known facts about Hitler. He was an aspiring artist, a vegetarian, and had a fear of dentists. Although leading Germany, he wasn't German-born. He was a soldier who failed in his military career but surprisingly held many medals. Hitler had a niece who played a part in his life, and he had a peculiar fear of cats. He was the man behind the infamous book, Mein Kampf. And there you have it, 10 things you probably didn't know about Adolf Hitler.